Hare Krishna, my dear Prabhus and dear Matajis. Good evening. Magandang gabi. Hello, hi. Hi kay Christine, Mataji, Hare Krishna. John Prabhu, nice to see you again. Hello. Nakita ko si Chantal. Hi, Chantal Mataji, Hare Krishna. Si KD Prabhu, Hare Krishna. Rolly Prabhu. Oh, Riza, nakita ko si Riza Mataji, Hare Krishna. Yan, si KD, si Christine Mataji, John Mataji, Hare Krishna. Nikita Mataji. And si Joy, she's back on Earth. Si Joy, nasa batch 2 siya. Pag nagka-chant siya, wala siya sa Earth. Pagtapos niya mag-chant, babalik siya rito. So, never ko siya makakalimutan. Lagi ko siyang hahanapin. And of course, sa ating, full support sa aming kuya. Tama kuya ba natin si ano? Mukhang kuya natin si Mathuranatha. Pero tatanggi siya dyan. Pero full support tayo. Andito si Navadip Chandra Prabhu saka si Radhanath Prabhu. Yan. And of course, welcome sa ating dear God brother, Mathuranatha Prabhu. Good evening po. Hare Krishna. Ay, si Sita andun din. Yan. Hare Krishna Prabhu. Good evening.
Hare Krishna, good evening to everyone. And yeah, thank you for coming. Thank you, Radha Charan Prabhu, for the arrangement, the Zoom, and gathering the attendees. So, yep. Without further ado, we'll start our class for tonight on the Bhagavad Gita as it is, important verses. So, would like to ask Radha Charan Prabhu to please display the invocation prayers. Om Adhyana Timirandasya Dhananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Shri Mate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Itinamine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatharine. Vancha kalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindubhya eva cha patithanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Okay, so as I sent last night, our verse for today will be from the 7th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita as it is, text number 30. Let me read the verse. Sadhi bhuta didaivam mam sadhi yagyam chaye viduhu prayana kalepi chamam te vidur yukta chetashaha. Translation. Those in full consciousness of me, who know me, the Supreme Lord to be the governing principle of the material manifestation of the demigods and of all methods of sacrifice, can understand and know me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, even at the time of death. Purport. Persons acting in Krishna consciousness are never deviated from the path of entirely understanding the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In the transcendental association of Krishna consciousness, one can understand how the Supreme Lord is the governing principle of the material manifestation and even of the demigods. Gradually, by such transcendental association, one becomes convinced of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And at the time of death, such a Krishna conscious person can never forget Krishna. Naturally, he is thus promoted to the planet of the Supreme Lord Goloka Vrindavan. This 7th chapter particularly explains how one can become a fully Krishna conscious person. The beginning of Krishna consciousness is association of persons who are Krishna conscious. Such association is spiritual and puts one directly in touch with the Supreme Lord. And by His grace, one can understand Krishna to be the Supreme Personality of Godhead. At the same time, one can really understand the constitutional position of the living entity and how the living entity forgets Krishna and becomes entangled in material activities. By gradual development of Krishna consciousness in good association, the living entity can understand that due to forgetfulness of Krishna, he has become conditioned by the laws of material nature. He can also understand that this human form of life is an opportunity to regain Krishna consciousness and that it should be fully utilized to attain the causeless mercy of the Supreme Lord. Many subjects have been discussed in this chapter: the man in distress, the inquisitive man, the man in want of material necessities, knowledge of Brahman, knowledge of Paramatma, liberation from birth, death, and disease, and worship of the Supreme Lord. However, he who is actually elevated in Krishna consciousness does not care for the different processes. He simply directly engages himself in activities of Krishna consciousness and thereby factually attains his constitutional position as an eternal servitor of Lord Krishna. In such a situation, he takes pleasure in hearing and glorifying the Supreme Lord in pure devotional service. He is convinced that by his doing so, all his objectives will be fulfilled. This determined fate is called Dridha Vrata, and it is the beginning of Bhakti Yoga or transcendental loving service. That is the verdict of all scriptures. The seventh chapter of the Bhagavad Gita is a substance of that conviction. So this is the last text for the chapter 7 of Bhagavad Gita. Thus and the Bhaktivedanta purports for the seventh chapter of Bhagavad Gita as it is. So we'll directly proceed to the discussion. So first, what does a person acting in Krishna consciousness usually do? Ano daw ang usually ginagawa ng persons acting in Krishna consciousness? Okay, from back to KD, persons acting in Krishna consciousness are never deviated from the path of entirely understanding the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yes, basically, this is what a Krishna conscious person do. You know, they never deviated from the path of entirely understanding the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, no, even though merong ups and downs, may mga difficulties, even though there are rough roads, no, they continuously no try to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and and ultimately, those person acting in Krishna consciousness, they could see that these things are all arrangements of the Lord, no? Depende na lang talaga kung paano natin titignan yung mga events na nangyayari sa buhay natin. Okay, I think that's the answer for that discovery. For number 2, by the Lord's grace, what does one understand? What does one understand? Okay, again from Bhakta. Okay, from Bhaktaron, he has another answer. Always humble to serve. Yes, that's also one thing that a person acting in Krishna consciousness do. So for number 2, for the answer, for number 2 from Bhakta KD. In the Transcendental Association of Krishna Consciousness, one can understand how the Supreme Lord is the governing principle of the material manifestation and even of the demigods. Yes. Any questions on this or addition? From Dr. Rowley, he has a question. This is a this is a question or addition. So from Dr. Rowley, how the sorry, yeah. Okay, so sige. So another answer for uh, from Dr. Rowley is he understand how the Supreme Lord is a governing principle of the material manifestation and even of the demigods. Yes, same answer with back to KD. So yes, basically, so this one this thing will understand by the Lord's grace. No, he will understand his position and even the Lord's position amongst the demigods. Any question or addition on this? Wala. Okay, we'll proceed to the third discovery. What are the different subjects discussed in this chapter? What are the different subjects discussed in this chapter? You can unmute your mic or you can type it as others are doing. So yeah, basically there are different topics discussed in this chapter. Although we already tackled the last verse, but last week we discussed something about the 13th verse of the same chapter. Okay, from Bhaktin Riza, the, the subjects that were discussed in this chapter were about the man in distress, the inquisitive man, the man in want of material necessities, knowledge of Brahman, knowledge of Paramatma, liberation from birth, death, disease, and worship of the Supreme Lord. Later on, as you progress or go further with the study of Bhagavad Gita, we will be maybe if not from me, maybe from other teachers, they will be able to explain in detail these different topics. So yeah, if you want to know more about these different topics, please continue learning and studying with us so that we mas ma-elaborate namin yung mga topics na ito. Any question? Wala po. Okay, let's proceed for the understanding. Number 1, explain the benefits of one getting the transcendental association of the Lord. What benefit one gets when they have a transcendental association to the Supreme Lord? Again, explain the benefits of one getting the transcendental association of the Lord. Okay, from Bhaktin Riza, again, coming back home to Godhead. Okay, this kind of benefit seems to be now a very high type of benefit. But let's see what others can say about it. From Bhakti KD, by such transcendental association, one becomes convinced of the supreme personality of Godhead, and at the time of death, such a Krishna conscious person can never forget Krishna. Naturally, he is thus promoted to the planet of the Supreme Lord Goloka Vrindavan. So yes, basically by association to the Supreme Lord, knowledge will be cultivated, and at the time of death, if one of course remembers Krishna, this he explains this in the 8th chapter, that when whatever state of mind, or if one remembers Krishna at the time of death, uh, automatically he will be promoted to the spiritual world, Goloka Vrindavan. um, Krishna also mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita that by learning his appearance and activities, one will not be able to take birth again in this material world. Janma karma cha me divyam. So it's very important to always find ways on how we can associate with the Supreme Lord. No, uh, Radhacharan Prabhu, he was able to explain different techniques, as well as Navadip Chandra Prabhu, he explains about in your little temple classes, no, on how to be Krishna conscious, on how to always associate with Krishna, no, as much as possible. Although ideally, 24 hours a day we should be associating with Krishna, so that there will be no, karmic reaction. We will just accumulate. We will just perform, a karmic activities. Any question on this? Okay, we'll proceed to the next understanding. Explain how one can become a fully Krishna conscious person. Paano daw ba tayo, or paano daw ba magiging fully Krishna conscious person? Although may nabigay na ako, na-mention na ako kanina, but still, I want to hear from you again from the purport of Srila Prabhupada. Okay, from then. Oh, by the way, another addition from Bhakti Chantal a while ago, his purpose or objective is fulfilled. So yes, that is also one of the benefit now, because by associating with Krishna, associating to the Supreme Lord, now one's purpose or objective is fulfilled, because ultimately that should be our purpose, that should be our goal, that's what should we, always looking forward, in a day. How we should ask ourselves, we should plan our day in such a way, thinking how I can associate with the Lord, because we are associating with so many things, so many people, so many objects, and we are not really sure if we are really getting, where if we are getting benefit out of it. But sometimes, Maya and the modes of material nature are always expert on how they can again, allure us, or keep us separate from Krishna's association. So yeah, again sa number 2, masasagot na how one can become a fully Krishna conscious person. So from Bhakta KD, the beginning of Krishna conscious association, the beginning of Krishna consciousness is association of persons who are Krishna conscious. So it's very important, yes, to associate with, Krishna conscious person. Association is one thing, but we should always aim for good association. There are many devotees, practicing devotees of Krishna consciousness. and we might have the chance to meet them somewhere, and physically or in the social media, no, and they might give us some association, but we should be intelligent enough to uh, let's use the word discrimination, to discriminate bad association to good association. So how we can know that if one is giving good association, meaning to say if that person is helping us to become more Krishna conscious, no, to always, if that person is helping us to remember Krishna, and the activities of Krishna, or anything about Krishna consciousness, if they are helping us to become more like that, then that means they are giving us good association. And of course, on the other hand, how can we know if one is giving bad association is, they are talking about nonsense things, or sa Sanskrit word tinatawag din na prajalpa. So if uh, if such a person is talking about or giving us topics about uh, topics that are not related with Krishna, or topics that are not giving or topics that are not making us to become making us more Krishna conscious, so that we can say from there that it is a bad association, and we have to be expert on how to escape from it, because uh, sometimes very tricky ang modes of material nature, or there are some tricky persons also sometimes. No, they are giving us telling some good things in the beginning, but later on, no, hindi natin namamalayan, no, that they are start talking about, rubbish things that are not very conducive in our Krishna consciousness. So my point here is we have to be very careful, be very sensitive on this, no, on how we can uh, identify between good association and bad association. It's not always it's not always being so kind, being so how to say, uh, in Tagalog, minsan yung pakikisama, no, is not always right, no. Sometimes yung pakikisama hindi palaging nakakatulong. Sometimes kasi, uh, para para tayo ay makisama sa ibang tao, then we try to, get along with them, jive along with them. Pero kung yung association is not so healthy, no, then ang tendency nun is we will become contaminated. And if we become contaminated, then we start to become less Krishna conscious. So that's why that's why it is said here, that the beginning of Krishna consciousness is association of persons who are Krishna conscious. So yes, because we cannot avoid this. We will meet so many people, so many, so quote unquote devotees, practicing devotees. So it's still advisable and more appropriate to associate with with those persons who are Krishna conscious also, and not the other way around. Okay, from Bhaktaroli, uh, he said that such association is spiritual and directly in touch with the Supreme Lord. Yes, because associating with Krishna conscious person, no, is not something material, but spiritual. No, the more we associate with Krishna conscious person, the more we should feel some happiness, contentment, fulfillment. You know, we have to be very careful on this. But if we associate with someone and we feel that we are not feeling any happiness from it, then we have to, perhaps we can just say, sorry, Prabhu or Mother, I'm busy, I need to go somewhere. We have to find ways to like really escape, because it's very dangerous. Srila Prabhupada used the analogy of the serpent. Yung milk, pag tinake natin yung milk, it's of course it's very healthy. And it is said in the scripture that if the milk was touched by a parrot, then the milk becomes sweeter. But if we drink a milk who is touched by a serpent, then it becomes poisonous. So this is a little, how to say, subtle or hard to identify in the beginning, but by practice of Krishna consciousness, we will be able to learn and see the difference between the two. So we have to be like really be very careful. So this is a comment from Madhu Guranga. First, we need to associate with the devotees that fully engage in Krishna consciousness. Second, follow the instructions of Guru and Krishna and surrender to Guru and Krishna. Yes, so basically, these are some points that we have to keep in mind to keep us always protected, to keep us always safe from bad association or inappropriate association. So yeah, thank you. Any question or addition on this? Yes, Prabhu KD, you can unmute your mic.
Yeah. Hare Krishna Prabhu. Just
Yeah.
another how do I start this? Like, kasi Prabhu, when we talk about association, and syempre, diba, in this lifetime, we cannot avoid meeting or associating with people that we meet along the path. So, I don't know if I'm in the right understanding, but isn't it a bit discriminating when we say that we try to go away with associating with bad or for the bad or inappropriate, when in fact we are also could be in that situation to others. Kasi I don't know, kasi for me, parang a human or a living entity cannot be as perfect as we would like to. And sometimes, probably even when we are Krishna conscious, there will become times that probably we may be in the mode of passion or mode of ignorance, and we may be um, giving out that kind of signal to others. And probably, paano yun? Like, it's gonna go in cycle. Probably I'll be judged and I'll be judging others as well. So isn't that a bit unfair to just say that at first glance of a person's impression, we try to automatically label them as inappropriate or bad without even knowing what happened to them or what is going on in their lives for them to be able to show these kinds of energies or actions, topics, something like that, Prabhu.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. KD Prabhu. That is a very interesting question, and I do appreciate that. So to answer it, as far as what I said earlier, just want to clarify that I didn't say to immediately, layuan kaagad natin yung mga tao na parang sabi natin less Krishna conscious. No, I'm not saying to like discriminate in a bad way. Of course, we do understand that there are devotees who are, let's say, not so strict with their practice, or we're just starting with their practice, they're just new, no? So that's fine. I mean, we can still associate them. Now we can give them more Krishna consciousness. That is fine. But what I'm talking about, no, in the later on, if we got the chance, if you will have the chance, or I mean, this class will have the chance. Uh, Better to study also this book, Nectar of Instruction, because from there it will be discussed kung ano ba yung mga dapat nating layuan at yung ano yung pwede nating i-keep na association. So, but to give you some idea, of course it is said there in that book, in Nectar of Instructions, to avoid people who are against the scripture, or to those who are very attached with women. Of course, what I'm talking about, and those, perhaps we can add those who are political, you know, they are very how to say, against with with a certain practice, people who are fault finder, people who are um, not happy actually with their Krishna consciousness practice, because there will be some people we may encounter like that. I mean, because of so much influence of the lower modes of material nature, and they cannot control it. Then they start to point fingers. Then they start to blame others. They start to hate something, hate someone. I mean, um, I don't want to be like sugarcoat so much, but this kind of person we will be able to meet in our way. So, of course, I mean, there are also remedies on how we can, deal with that, with those kind. If we will be caught up in that kind of situation, in the Nectar of Instruction, also it is explained there how we can avoid, and when to avoid, you know. So as far as your question, no, it's still okay. I mean, if a person is still new, or not yet, for example, not following all the regulative principles, doing like this and like that is fine. But again, you know, um, we also have to save ourselves, because if we keep ourselves close to them, you know, we might not notice that we are becoming like them already. You know, as Srila Prabhupada said, or there is a song from Sri Palano, associate with drinker, become a drinker. Associate with priest, become a priest, something like that. So, yeah, I mean, there's even a saying, no, you will know a man by his company. Am I right? Yeah? So you will know the character of a man by his company, kung sino yung mga kasama niya. So malalaman mo kung sino siya. So basically, like that. And there's also, I'm not sure if this quote or saying is like in a general, but I heard it from Srila Prabhupada. He said that you will know a person or his character when he starts speaking. When someone starts to speak, then you will know who he is, and then from there you will already know. If you will know, and you have to ask yourself, no, because the way he talks, you should ask yourself, should I keep his association or not? Otherwise, either I become like him, or sabi nga, there's also saying, if you cannot beat them, then join them. So one way of beating them is to, and it is said in the Nectar of Instruction, to leave the place immediately. Say some excuse and things like that. So yeah, that's what I'm pointing off, and I hope I was able to answer your question. So those are some answers. Perhaps Radheshwara Prabhu would like to say something, or Navadip Chandra.
Hare Krishna. That was a very wonderful question, KD, and very practical. And oo nga naman, pag ganun sila, parang hindi natin sila tinutulungan. So, isang ano yon, isang way to understand it. Pero as Prabhu Mathuranatha have clearly mentioned a while ago, we choose how, may type of association kasi how close yung association natin sa devotees and sa tao. Sometimes, kaya yung diniscuss natin, we should respect them from a distance. Even non-devotees, we should always respect them. We should not disrespect or offend them. Pero there are people, non-devotees, or even those who are practicing kasi this Krishna consciousness, may analogy si Srila Prabhupada doon, parang hospital. We're all sick, kaya tayo nandito sa Krishna consciousness. We want to be healed from our material desires, yung mga previous karma natin. Yung iba medyo may masakit or yung iba medyo mas nakakahawa. Hindi naman sila pinapaalis sa hospital or you don't hate them. They just need some space minsan. Sometimes from yung katulad ng sabi ni KD, may influence yung lower modes of nature. Minsan nagiging offensive sila because of the influence. Pero we don't hate them. We respect from a distance kasi those space are healing. Healing space yun. So they won't commit offenses also. So we will not offend them as well. So we still respect them from a distance. Tama yung sabi ni Mathuranatha Prabhu, we don't judge quickly. Ayun nga yung parang, Krishna consciousness is the most non-judgmental ever. The most, maraming people from all walks of life, people with colors, with all genders, you could see in Krishna consciousness. We just want to have some distance to those devotees na pwedeng maka-offend or ma-offend natin kasi we are also healing. So like personally, ako naman, I choose yung association ng mga senior devotees that could help me. And those yung mga tingin ko pwede ko tulungan, I don't become like a hero lang na baka ako yung madrag. Like yung hero, alam mo yung mga bayani na mamatay sila eh. Basta lagi sa pera. We don't want to be like, okay, bababa ako doon tapos puntahan ko sila pero ikaw pala yung madala. So, sabi ni Mathuranatha, we have to save ourselves. So, yes, tayo, even devotees garbing as devotees, minsan meron tayong mga may mga traces ng previous life natin na nandun pa rin. So as healing, we should know yung mga association. And that's really helpful. For like si Mathuranatha Prabhu, Navadip Chandra Prabhu, and even Radhanath Prabhu, this is one of the secret para magtuloy-tuloy yung steadiness sa Krishna consciousness. And in advancement, we choose yung mga good associations sa yung makakatulong sa atin to be closer sa services, to be much more closer kay Krishna. And in that way, when we are much more stronger, yung the rest nung sabi ni Prabhu KD na in the lower modes or may effect pa yon or much newer, mas madali natin sila matutulungan din kasi we are become stronger than yesterday. Thank you very much, Hare Krishna.
Thank you. So, yep, I hope, is it okay, KD Prabhu? Okay, thank you also, welcome. So we'll proceed to the third understanding. Explain the gradual development of Krishna consciousness in good association. So what does happen now if there is a good association? So what will be the gradual development of Krishna consciousness based on the purport of Srila Prabhupada? So basically, if we have a good association, so this will be the gradual development. This will be the symptoms, or this will be the effect. You know, if one is keeping a good association. From Bhakti KD, The living entity can understand that due to forgetfulness of Krishna, excuse me, he has become conditioned by the laws of material nature. He can also understand that this human form of life is an opportunity to regain Krishna consciousness and that it should be fully utilized to attain the causeless mercy of the Supreme Lord. So yeah, so as I said, this should be the development happen that should happen to a person who is keeping a good association with others. No, one should be able to realize how we become conditioned. No, what happened. No, and one will be able to also realize. No, uh, the purpose of this human life, human form of life is of course no, to be an opportunity to regain our Krishna consciousness, and that should be fully utilized to attain the cosmic mercy of the Supreme Lord. So if we associate with Krishna conscious persons, so that meaning that we should be that meaning that we should become more Krishna conscious. But if we become no, but but if I mean I'm just giving some example. But if we become but if associating with other people, devotees, if we become phone conscious, laptop conscious, or gadget conscious, or you know, sports conscious. So of course I'm not saying it's bad, but we have to check and balance. We have to reflect, no, and not should be stuck up with that. No? So we have to, always find a balance. Of course, uh, having a little bit of that is okay. Every now and then, once in a while, it's fine. But no, we should always, get Krishna conscious association from other devotees. In that way, no, we will be able to uh, experience this gradual development of Krishna consciousness in good association with others. Any question or addition on this? Wala po. Moving on to number 4, explain what happened to the one who is actually elevated in Krishna consciousness. Ano daw nangyayari if one becomes elevated in Krishna consciousness? Mother Jonah raised her hand. Yes, Mother Jonah. Nakamute po, Mother. Sorry. Or hindi ko namin marinig. Okay.
Ayaw niya pa naman yung nagkakamali.
Sige, unmute niya raw po ulit.
Pa rin. Hare Krishna. Naka-mute ka na, Mataji. Baka may i-on ka lang sa mic mo. Yan.
Hindi nakasaksak. Okay, any other thoughts on this? On what happened to the one who is elevated in Krishna consciousness?
Right, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu KD.
The person doesn't care about the different processes, but instead he engages directly with activity or Krishna conscious activities.
Okay. that all? Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
So yeah, basically, like it's like that. Regardless, I mean, he will not bother himself so much into some other process, but keeps himself, I mean, steady and focused. Stick with the process of Krishna consciousness. So basically, that's what happened. And thank you, KD Prabhu. Perhaps Mother Jonah, welcome back.
Thank you po, Prabhu. May technical problem ako. Hindi ko alam kung bakit tayo gumana ng isang gadget. And Prabhu, my question is a bit personal. I mean, I don't know if this is proper, but I want to ask as well. And I hope all of us wouldn't mind if this question goes like, Krishna consciousness and this life, this human form of life is an opportunity to regain Krishna consciousness. When you say Krishna consciousness, Prabhu, in its absolute essence, does it only mean knowing God as Krishna? Can I be Krishna conscious as well by knowing God in its other form? Thank you, Prabhu.
Okay. So thank you also for your question. Let me clarify it. You are asking, to become a human form of life is to understand or to become Krishna conscious. So and then you're asking if one can still be like Krishna conscious or God conscious by remembering or meditating on the other form of God. Okay. So Krishna, he has different forms. He has different expansions, and he even have plenary expansion and expansion of his expansion. So forms of Krishna is unlimited. His forms are compared to the waves of the ocean. So anyone who can count the waves of the ocean. So waves of the oceans are unlimited. So as to the form of Krishna. So it is unlimited. Now maybe, I mean, since you asked this personal question, I would like to ask, what form of Krishna or God you are trying to pertain to?
Nagpawisan ako, Prabhu. Teka lang.
Nasa ka ba?
No, I think, Prabhu, if I've known God as Jesus Christ all my life, wouldn't that be considered Krishna consciousness as well? Since I believe that every spirituality goes to the divine. Now, in an absolute essence, would Krishna consciousness only mean knowing God as Krishna and all his expansions as stated in the scriptures?
Okay. Based on the knowledge and position that was explained. So basically, we all know that Jesus Christ is the son of Krishna. Of course, technically, he is not the supreme personality of Godhead. Of course, only Krishna has this position. But of course, I'm not gonna stop you to develop your relationship with Jesus Christ. You can keep on doing it full and strict with his teachings. If you're gonna learn properly, strictly his teachings in the Bible, then ultimately, you will be able, and all the while studying these scriptures in Krishna consciousness. So eventually, you will be able to find the connection between the two. So, and then you will be able to conclude no, that it doesn't matter if you study Bible or Bhagavad Gita. No? So, however, still, considering the teachings of Jesus Christ in the Bible, no, he just focused on human ethics, morals, like that, how to become a human, how to act like a human being, like a person, you know. Um, Maybe you will ask why, because based on what I heard from the different senior devotees, no, that Jesus Christ, he could see, no, that the level of the intelligence of the people during his time is up to that level only. Actually, Jesus Christ, he wants to give more, but he could see that the people are quite unqualified that time already. So even though he wants to give more, no, he couldn't move forward because people during those times are becoming degraded. I mean, Kali Yuga already started that time, become less intelligent. Memory was not so sharp anymore, things like that. So that's why Jesus Christ, no, ended up teaching the people, no, how to act like a human being. He talked about the corporal works of mercy, different, charity works, and things like that. So I'm saying, no, that there's more, but loving him, loving his mother, Virgin Mary, and all his family members, things like that. I mean, it's fine. It's okay. I mean, there's no bad about that. So yeah. So just continue what you are doing right now, and try to, of course, still. But I will humbly request to please try to learn more, and as I said, connect the dots, and later on you will realize, you know, and Krishna, the Father of Jesus Christ, will be able to give you knowledge. Krishna will reveal to you later on what you are how far you should go. I mean, how Krishna will help you to move forward also. Don't worry. So to answer your question, it's okay. Yes. Thank you, Mother John. Mother Chantal, question, addition, or violent reaction?
I just wanted to add something kasi parang si Jonah Mataji, parang she seemed really worried about her question being raised, and I found it a little parang ironic na a Catholic person is asking whether a Bhakti will accept the belief in Catholicism. Kasi parang ako naman, a few days ago, I experienced something different. I had nung Garo Purnima, nung isang araw, nag-post ako ng picture ni Lord Chaitanya sa IG stories ko. And then, siguro mga 4 people messaged me asking kung Bhakti Yogi ba ako. And one of these women, she's a really good friend. She's a doctor and she's a devout Catholic. Sabi niya, Bhakti Yogi ka ba? Sabi ko, oo. Sabi ko, I'm trying to live a life of Krishna consciousness. Sabi niya, naku, patay tayo dyan. Sabi niya, ipagdadasal kita ng rosary, pero nasa iyo talaga yung redemption mo. Sabi niya, na I know she meant well, pero parang ang extreme kasi pinagdadasal na niya ako ngayon dahil feeling niya. And then she said something like, why would you change your religion for something that you've been baptized with and has been parang indoctrinated 2,000 years na ang Catholicism, and your father was a Catholic, so why would you change your religion? sabi ko, kasi nung bininyagan naman ako, hindi ko choice yun kasi baby pa ako. So parang, sabi ko lang, parang I understand how my conversion is very bothersome for other religions. Parang it's really parang pinagdasal na nga niya ako, feeling niya pupunta na ako sa impyerno. But for us, and then for Jonah Mataji to be saying, okay lang po ba na ituloy na maniwala pa rin siya kay Jesus Christ, and then this conversation happens and you say, in short, kung mabuti kang tao, because of that, yes, parang nakakatuwa lang. Kasi I think this is what draws us to Bhakti Yogi, that to be Bhakti Yoga, that no matter what path we choose, the path is goodness. I mean, we want to be good. We want to, kahit ano pang pangalan ni Krishna, if that translates to fulfillment of our purpose and goodness, then we are in the right path. Yun lang po. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mother Chantal. Yeah, very nice addition to that. So yeah, maybe of course we here in this Krishna consciousness movement, we are not like, maybe you will notice that we are not stopping you to keep doing what you are doing right now. I mean, on the other hand, from the other religion, they are so worried. If you explore more, then they are so worried, and of course we appreciate their concern, but of course at the end of the day, it is you, all of you, who will analyze scrutinizingly if this process or this path of goodness that you are taking is really helping you to become good or even better. I mean, ang teachings nga sa amin before when we are starting, because of course, yung na-experience ni Mother Jonah, of course, is not new to us. We came also from a Catholic family, a Sarado Katoliko family, especially Navadip Chandra Prabhu. So, I mean, at this point of my life, natatawa na lang ako when I remember my early days. Now, how, of course, it was also tough. I know, I feel what Mother Jonah or even Mother Chantal is experiencing right now. We also experienced that in our early days. Yeah, but na found out namin na by learning Krishna consciousness, it helps us actually to become better Christian, better Catholic, or better Muslim, better Iglesia ni Cristo. So whatever it is, whatever faith or religion we are into before. So that's why also Srila Prabhupada, he is claiming that this Krishna consciousness is a non-sectarian movement. Of course, there is a culture, and culture is everywhere also. Every place, every nation has a culture. So, but and culture was influenced by a particular persons or particular habits. So this Krishna consciousness also is a culture, and it is the oldest culture in the world, even older than the Christianity. It is this culture existed 5,000 years ago, and even more. So yeah, I mean, just continue to learn and see. As I said, in terms of association, if you think associating with us is making you less God conscious or Jesus Christ conscious, then you have the decision if you want to continue associating with us or not. But we are clear with our purpose. Was to help each and every one of you to become a better person. So, yun lamang po. And I thank you. So, sabi ni Mother Christine, practicing bhakti will help you get closer to whoever God, infinite being you believe in. Yes. Correct. And sabi nga ni Radhanath Swami, kala ko ni Radhanath Swami, unity in diversity, whether you are Christian, Hindu, Muslim, etc. It is your love for God. Yes. So we are just helping you to develop your lost relationship with God, and ultimately, we are just here to help you to love God more, whatever name you are trying to believe in, either Krishna, Yahweh, Buddha, Allah. So it's just the same. Okay, any more question or addition? It's nice. It was a very warm, mainit na talakayan. Okay, we'll move on to the application. Share your experience or experiences of having a good association in the Raj Bhakti Academy. Mother Risa, yes, you have question? Good, I see your hand there.
Mag-share.
Share, yes.
Mag-share ako
About application?
application.
Okay, yes. Buwan naman, no? Si Mother
Hare
Risa.
Krishna. So, kanina, this morning, na-mention ni Guru Maharaj yung strength is gained through association. And determination of one person can easily be broken, but association that comes from many is stronger. So, I felt na nakaka-relate ako dun sa sinabi na yun ni Guru Maharaj. Kasi in my own experience, yung having association really helps me keep up with my sadhana. So sa morning, when I do my japa meditation, it helps me wake up early or earlier. Tapos, also when I need to ask questions about certain topics, ayun, nandun lang sila Prabhu Radhacharan and Navad. At saka si, nandun lang sila, nag-answer lang sila patiently with my questions and queries. Tapos, when I need to share also yung mga challenges ko sa practice, because sometimes I get complaints or like questions dito sa house, like with my practice. Like my family, sometimes they think I'm part of a cult na daw, or I have a different religion, or I'm worshiping a false god, mga ganon. Tapos they're complaining about the smell of the house when I cook Indian food. Parang it smells like Bombay daw. Tapos parang I didn't know that I have so many racist family members anyway. So yun, and when I'm reading the Gita, when my dad sees me, he's gonna tell me like, just read the Bible, because all the answers that you're looking for is also in there. So why not just read it instead? So yun, I find comfort in sharing those things to the other devotees. Tapos I also find strength and comfort kasi they teach me how to handle or how to communicate yun in a respectable way. Kaya nakaka-inspire din kasi like when you see the practice of other devotees, like yung sa prasadam, tapos yung when they receive their Srimad Bhagavatam set, yung sobrang tuwa nila, or like yung reflections and readings that they share about the scriptures, tapos naalala ko yung sinabi ni Prabhu Radhacharan, sabi niya sa akin before, like, hilahan tayo palapit kay Krishna. So, yun lang. So, I think really the association is very, very, very helpful in the practice of Krishna consciousness.
Thank you very much, Mother Risa, for your wonderful sharing of your association with us, with them.
Right, Prabhu, can I add to what Mother Risa just said? Kasi
Okay.
I think I have a similar experience with Mother Risa. Pero one good thing about my association kasi it ripples to the family. Kasi every time I would listen to mga Gita classes, the podcast, the village talk, I would listen sa dining room when they are eating, ganyan, and they would hear what is being talked about and they would see at the same time. And usually kasi my family, they're very medyo uptight sila when it comes to religious practices. But after yung when I started at least advancing practices in Bhakti, medyo yun yung pinakatahimik na moment I've had with them. No questions but support. Parang yeah, when and the ripple I would like to highlight here is actually on the technicalities of a religion. Kasi sa kanila, ang religion is viewed as a technical practice. Eh. You pray the rosary, you do the chanting to Buddha. So they don't care about the background. But when they started seeing how I changed my own practice and they hear yung mga stories ko, kwento ko about my experiences with this association, they started to, in a way, na-feel ko, they won't tell, but na-feel ko, may konting changes na mas nakiging intimate sila, hindi for the sake of hindi na siya ganun eh. So, like, that's the other night when my mom, we had a video chat, and I was telling her na, ayun ma, I cook vegetarian today, ang dami kong kinaing gulay, ganyan. Tapos sabi niya sa akin, talaga, ang daming gulay. Anong gulay yan? Gusto mo pa ba? Ganyan. Dapat pabili ka na dito. Plus sa akin, ang dami nun So parang yung mga ganong bagay na, those are simple things that happened that made me appreciate association more. Kasi it ripples talaga eh. Talagang from the association to me and me to the others, to the outer circle. And that's something that I value now, I treasure kasi the support is there not only from the association but from the people I interact with from on a daily basis, I think. Yun lang, Prabhu. Just to add to what Mother Risa shared.
Thank you. Thank you. So that's also your application as well, right? Okay, thank you for KD and Mother Risa. Anyone else who wants to share their application in terms of their association? The Raj Bhakti Academy, devotees in Raj. Mother Jonah, yes.
Hello, Prabhu, ulit po. Ayan. Nag-iingat ako kasi napakaiyakin kong bata eh. So, mamaya umiiyak na. Association, sabi nga, napaka-sensitive ko kasi pagdating sa mga church works. Pero the association, I really appreciate it kasi parang this is the point wherein when you have something on your mind, when you have doubts or your fears, ang tatawagan mo or i-message mo is a devotee as well who would really support you. Parang hindi ka lang iso-support na ipapamper ka lang, pero that person would make you realize a lot of things. Also, yung group namin, Radha Yoga PH, parang you seldom find people na ang pag-uusapan nyo is about God, His gloriousness, how God touched your lives. Kaya parang tama naman, it makes you become a better Catholic kasi back then, do you have that friends ng chikahan nyo is about how good God is? Parang, pero with this association talaga, parang you can become deep with your belief in God, whoever God is for you. But at the same time, Prabhu, to be honest, that word association, ayun na naman ako. The word association also makes me think of my association with, halimbawa, yung choir namin, yung group namin. Parang minsan message ko sila, kanta naman tayo, parang ganyan. Pero parang just telling them na ako pa rin to. Hindi ako nag-iba. Pag kailangan natin kumanta, kakanta pa rin ako, papasok pa rin ako sa simbahan. Pag kailangan nyo ng sopranong tumitinis ka, dito pa rin ako. Pero ang advance kasi ako masyado mag-isip, siguro hindi na problema sa akin. Association pa lang tayo, initiation na yung iniisip ko. Parang, pwede bang wag ng initiation? Kasi association pa nga lang, ang dami ko lang naririnig. Baka pag initiation, isarado yung simbahan para sa akin. Parang hindi naiisip ko. Sabi ko, baka hindi na ako papasukin sa simbahan, baka hindi na ako tanggapin ng grupo ko pagka initiation na, kasi association pa lang na ako. But then, sabi ko, at some point, sabi ko, you really have to choose between which association you would go. Kasi pag sinabi ko naman, I mean, to be honest, I cannot leave Krishna consciousness. Parang, do I have that doubts, that fears, I cannot leave Krishna consciousness. Pero pag sinabi ko naman, if sabihin ko, pwede ba bang guro, wag na lang kasi pwede bang hanggang dito na lang muna ako, back din level na lang muna. Sabi ko, mamaya imute na ako ni Radha Charan. Sabi ko, sana ako kung hindi ako pupunta doon sa association ko sa kabila, wala ako sa association ng kabila. Ako na yung Jonah in the middle, hindi na siya yung Mok in the middle. Wala na ako napuntahan. So, but in terms of association, really, it's a good association. Only that, siguro nga, I always allow Maya to make a crack in my mind. Kaya I always have that fears, delusions.
Thank you, Mother Jonah, for your wonderful and heartfelt application. And I do hope, you don't have to feel pressure on us. You're always welcome. Kung ano man ang path na tatahakin mo, you're always welcome in our association. We are always happy to have your association with us, regardless of ano man ang maging desisyon natin sa buhay. So we're just here. Okay, Mother Chantal, raising her hand.
Madali akong kausap sa Prabhu Radha Charan. Hindi, kasi ganito, Prabhu, sabi ko, about association, I really appreciate, parang, I don't see it just as association. I see the people that parang the connections I have, especially in this group, it's like they're encouragers. When you have, di ba parang, kunwari, yung mga nagda-drugs, hindi ka naman magda-drugs mag-isa, di ba? Usually, para malulung ka sa isang bagay, kailangan may kakonsyaba ka. And knowingly, I have in the past, I have probably encouraged or influenced somebody to do something that was not good. And so I see the power of conversation, the power of action, yung what we do, really, whether advertently or inadvertently, nakaka-affect siya ng ibang tao. Even just what we post on social media or what a look we give to somebody we're listening to, ang powerful niya. It's we cannot underestimate it, and I really appreciate the association that we have here because it's all positive. Nobody has ever in this group condemned me for being separada, single mom. Kung sa ibang organized religion to, this would not be, I would not be an ideal person to be encouraged towards religion. But in this group, I feel very welcome. Ng mga tanong ko, wala namang nagrereklamo. Recently, I discovered na si Navadvip Chandra Prabhu, pwede ko pa rin walang tanungan. In fact, na-carry the way ako kaninang umaga, nagsumbong pa ako sa kanya ng mga personal problems ko. Ganun ka, because when somebody, when your association welcomes you for entirely who you are, then it becomes okay for you to lay down your cards and say, okay, this is where I am in my life right now. How can I be better? It's not pretentious na kailangan mabait ka na, kailangan nagsisimba ka tuwing linggo, kailangan nagro-rosaryo ka. Hindi siya pretentious. It's like it can accept you in any level. And that's why I really appreciate the connections I have with the people here. Yun lang po. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mother Chantal. I guess we can say that real good association is where you can be yourself. That whatever, and there will be no judgment. There will be no any negative thought on what we're gonna say or do. So thank you very much, Mother Chantal, for sharing that application of yours. Any anyone else who would like to share their application? So
The group chat, Prabhu, merong nag-share.
okay, from Bhakti Nikita. Well, me as a trans woman joining many religion from the past, I usually experience hard stare and judgment. I can say Krishna consciousness fit me. They see no gender. I'm in. Yes. As we have this principle of that we are not this body. We're all spirit souls and parcel of Krishna. No? As we are, as long as we are doing the right thing and the proper way of being who we are, then all is good. And God is good. Okay. Thank you, Mother Nikita. From back to KD. Hugs. Hugs. So kung wala na, let's end up our session with a quote from Srila Prabhupada. This is from Preaching This the Essence. This is from Chaitanya Charitamrita Adilila, chapter 7, text 92. The Krishna consciousness movement is based on becoming Krishna conscious and making others Krishna conscious. My dear child, continue dancing, chanting, and performing Sankirtan in association with devotees. Furthermore, go out and preach the value of chanting Krishna Nam. Sorry for the typographical thing. For by this process, you will be able to deliver all fallen souls. It is another ambition of the spiritual master to see his disciples not only chant, dance, and follow the regulative principles, but also preach the Sankirtan movement to others in order to deliver them. For the Krishna consciousness movement is based on the principle that one should become as perfect as possible in devotional service oneself and also preach the cult or culture for others' benefit. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So thank you very much for your time. Sorry, we got a little overboard over time. So again, thank you, Bhaktin Riza, Bhaktin Jonah, Prabhu KD, Bhaktin Chantal, Radhacharan Prabhu, Navadup Chandra Prabhu, Bhakta Roli Prabhu, Madhuranga Prabhu, Bhakti Jan, Radhanath Prabhu, and family, Bhaktin Nikita, Bhaktin Joy, and Bhaktin Christine, Chaitanya Singha, and Chaitanya Singha Prabhu. I hope wala akong na-miss out from all of you. So yeah, again, thank you very much. It's my pleasure to have your association and get your association, and looking forward for more association in this Raj Bhakti Academy Ki Jai. Radhacharan Prabhu.
Hello, hello, and thank you very much. Yan, happy birthday pala kay Chaitanya Simha. Get well soon.
Yes,
And before we end,
happy birthday.
picture muna tayo, group picture tayo, everyone. Napakagandang yung oras lumipas siya ng napaka-smooth na
Hindi natin
na
namalayan.
nakakabitin pa, 'di ba? Yan. So napakagaling na kuya ni Mathuranatha Prabhu in sharing yung
Lakas mga kuya.
ayaw pumayag. Oh, picture tayo muna, everyone. yan. Nice to see everyone. So, kamusta ang Holy Week niyo? Holy nga ba?
Holy.
Tama ko, Holy Week na. Sige. Count of 3, 1, 2, 3. One more, 1, 2, 3. It's always wonderful and humbling, and we are honored to have your association. We're thankful to our dear God brother Mathuranatha Prabhu. Such a wonderful discussion, and everyone, of course, was felt yung warmth ng Krishna consciousness and association ng devotees. I'm also fortunate to have your association and all the students sa Braj Bhakti Academy. Maraming salamat. Be safe palagi. Tomorrow, we will have Japa session, same time, same place, as well as the Srimad Bhagavatam. 8 o'clock and 11 o'clock will be with Guru Maharaj and Ashu, and 7 o'clock continuation sa ating Dermo Sridham Prabhu ng GEMS. So maraming salamat. Abangan niyo yung mga lalabas na village talk pala. Wala lang kaming strong internet kaya di namin ma-upload yung iba, pero ang daming nakakasana. maraming salamat. Stay safe everyone. Mathuranatha Prabhu, maraming salamat ulit. Good evening. Hare Krishna.
Take care, everyone. Stay safe and healthy. Hari Hari Bol.
Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Devotees Association ki jai. Hari Bol.
God.